Well, hello, and welcome to this sort of live conversation, live chat in advance of the BBC, the Building Business Capability Conference. My name is Adrian Reed, and I'm really pleased to be joined here by Kathleen Schwaber, who's going to be talking to us about building a grassroots community of practice. Now, before we start chatting, it's worth saying that if you are watching this session live, you can potentially control some of the topics that we talk about, because if you put a comment in the chat, I have the ability to bring those comments up on screen. And if you've got a question, you can type it in the chat or as a LinkedIn comment, and we'll bring some of those up on on the chat as we go along. So Kathleen, you're going to be talking about a community of practice at the BBC, the Building Business Building Business Capability Conference. And I always think this is such an important topic and one that is really easy to overlook. But before we get started, what would you say a community of practice is, and how does it differ from like a team?
That's a great question, and thanks for the opportunity to chat with you. I have, when I stepped into my role at Nashville Electric just over 3 years ago, um, I really found myself wanting community, and our little community kind of grew by happenstance. But as I was looking to grow business analysis on the IT side, I was researching a lot communities of practice versus centers of excellence, and there wasn't a lot out there on either in the BA space. And project management. I found quite a bit, but I would say that a community of practice differs from a team because it I think in some ways lacks the structure of reporting, the structure of expectations. In our community, it really is about the relationships and the information sharing, um, trying to keep up with trends, figuring out what we're working on, because we are crossing silos in our organization that run pretty deep, and it's a great way for us to figure out what else is happening and how we can support each other.
Yeah, that's great. I really liked how you described that about and the information sharing is a really important part of that as well, isn't it? And I know that's something that many organizations struggle with, right? It's like, we produce so much interesting, useful stuff as BAs, and but like finding it again is always a challenge. So were there any specific pain points, or like what made you inspired or motivated to form a community of practice? Was there like a catalyst?
I think it would just be new in the organization. My husband and I moved our family from the west coast of the U.S. to more central. We're in Nashville, Tennessee now, and so it was a new place, a new company, and I was hired in as a contractor on the IT side and was the only business analyst. And it was lonely. Everyone around me was very nice, but I didn't have a group to commiserate with about my body of work. And it was actually on a um, a webinar that I saw our friend Megan pop up, and we were doing the introductions in the chat. She said, "Oh, I'm Megan from Nashville," and the spelling of her name is unique. And I thought, "Well, I've seen that before." So I get in the org chart and I look her up, and sure enough, there she is. So I've now got her on a Teams chat while we're also in this webinar, and she said, "There's another BA here. We got to track him down." And so it just kind of became pulling at people, and we found four in total, and we met for lunch and decided we need to just keep this up and see where we can take it and how we can help each other. So it formed out of necessity of just needing some community.
That's fantastic. There's almost like a inherent human need for connection in that way, isn't it?
Mhm.
And for like professional connection, I think that's great too. So walk us through the first steps. So you've identified these four other BAs. Like how did you go about it? Did you like have a series of meetings? How did you prioritize what to do first?
So we've our work has kind of shifted, and when I say our work, kind of our vision. We initially tried to figure out how amongst the four of us we could support each other with standardization. I sit in IT, and all of IT is contracted, so that's already kind of a fuzzy relationship. It's very good, but there's clear boundaries of where I have to stop and start what I'm doing. And the other three BAs are in different departments, and there's um, not a BA practice. There's job descriptions, but there's not structure and tools. There's not training focused on business analysis. And for anyone who can relate to people not really getting what our work is, we're in an organization that it's not supportive. It's just not built for it yet. And so it was first a mission of, well, let's bring clarity to our role. Let's do this efficiently. And so Scott and I had a chance to work together first on the project that IT received, and we worked together on streamlining some of our communications and some templates. And then he got pulled off onto a big project it's going live here next week, which is very exciting. Um, and then it kind of then shifted to just keeping conversation opening. What are we learning about? How can we meet at the conference together? And once we're there, then it's okay. Well, let's pick these topics and we'll divide and conquer and come back and have a conversation. So it's the last couple of years, it's really just been focused on growing ourselves professionally and staying connected. And I think also carrying a message through our organization, leading by example. What is BA work and how does it deliver value? So we can maybe get get more clarity around that role and get more involvement where we can be helpful.
Yeah, that leads me to another related point, actually, Kathleen, which is around engagement. Because you mentioned, and I was smiling along as you said it, we're like, sometimes people don't understand what we do, right? And
Mhm.
that's definitely the case. That can definitely be the case. So if you're going to have a community of practice and you're going to need potentially access to things, whether it's support to go on training or whether it's even just access to, we need somewhere to create a shared repository. Like, how do you go about building engagement? One, for the idea of a community of practice and getting the support that you need for that, but also about the profession of business analysis more generally.
That's an interesting one, and I think our in our organization where the contractor business line is, in some ways I think has helped. I've had a lot of flexibility and empowerment on my side as a contractor, and have been able to help grow the BA team from a team of one to now I have four BAs on my team, and we're demonstrating value every day. And I think that is helping shift culture a little bit on the business side. Coming out of this capital project, they've also really seen the value of good analysis, both business analysis and quality assurance. And so it's part of their launch. They're standing up a application center of excellence in the customer care team to support their. It's a team of becoming product ownership. But they're going to handshake with IT all of the time, and they're setting up a whole team of business analysts underneath them. So it's I don't know if it's specifically us, but I think that demonstration of BA value through lots of different avenues is helping kind of create some structure to that. And hopefully, we'll be able to get buy-in from their leadership to bring them in and bring them into the community and maybe create some more formality out of this over time.
I loved what you said there, Kathleen, about you said something along the lines of we're demonstrating value every day. And like when you said that, I had that wow moment in my my head. Really, it really
Mhm.
resonated because like if you've got to that level, like that's a phenomenal achievement to get there. And so are you finding that like stakeholders are more keen to engage with BAs? Like, is it a case of it's that chicken and egg thing, right? That you've almost got the credibility through the delivery, and
Mhm.
now they're coming to you and your team. Are you finding that kind of dynamic at play?
From my vantage point, I think definitely. One thing I noticed early on is without a BA presence, it was hard to figure out where I fit. And so I found myself I'm over here. Can I come to your meeting? Can I talk to you about what you're working on? And I really had to push into their lanes to, get some engagement, and then slowly but surely got some fans. And then as I built my team out, started to think about what relationships needed to be grown and start putting BAs on those projects. And it's kind of for some people, it's a slow drip. You deliver one little bit, and they say, "Oh, okay, I liked that. Can I use them over here? I have a thing that they might be able to help with." And so now on a regular basis, it's, well, can I have a BA for that? Or how is a BA going to engage on this? And, what can I expect from a BA on this project? So the conversation has really shifted, and I'm very proud of what my team is bringing to the table and how we're setting that reputation for us.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering as I hear that, were there any like pivotal moments? Were there any turning points or any like landmarks which you could point to and say, ah, once we'd done this, that was like a turning point.
Um, I'm trying to think. So there is about this time last year, maybe a year ago, Thanksgiving, we were setting out on a project to update a really critical application that was facing the equivalent of a Y2K defect. And we had a very tight timeline. I had a great advocate on the leadership team for business analysis work, and he helped me push through some demand to bring BAs on. And let's bring some contractors on. We'll time box the work, and let's put them to use. We did bring on some BAs who were newer in experience, and they had an uphill climb. They didn't know the business, they didn't know the application. One of them in particular was newer to BA work in general, has the heart of business analysis, and needed some of that technical growth. And they've really conquered some tough challenges. And at the end of the project, we were able to make the case to just bring them on full time. So that was a huge win. And I think their presence on that project, their day in, day out engagement with the business really changed how um, the vision of how we deliver service, how IT can deliver service to the business by being closely integrated. That also became an opportunity for one of the business BAs to come in and sit with us long term. Um, that was kind of a great experiment, and I don't think without our community of practice we would have been able to have Derek join us for so long, and we would not have made the progress we did on that project without him. So it was a way to get to his leadership and say, "Hey, I know his skill set, and I need his skill set. Can we borrow him?" And that, I don't think that had been done before that matrix relationship. So that was another
Mhm.
kind of push at the boundaries, and another way to show, yeah, we can do these things. It's going to work out okay.
I love that. I also love one of the things I really loved about the title of your session at BBC is the kind of the grassroots element to it, which to me, if I understand correctly, means it's like ground up, right? It's not being driven top down. It's practitioners wanting to
Hmm.
share information. You've perhaps been the catalyst, but then
Hmm.
others, it's grown and others have got involved. So, like you mentioned, knowledge sharing as being one key thing that this has enabled. What else would you say it's enabled for the practitioners themselves? So, like, I don't know, is there like a training roadmap, or what other benefits are there for the practitioners?
For us right now, I think the biggest benefit is awareness of what we're all doing. So we're part of an electric utility. It's The work is very siloed by function, and I think some of that is out of necessity. You have engineering groups with very specific functions. You have your field crews with very specific functions, and Megan's in fleet. Scott is now in rates and billing. So all these very um, isolated bodies of work that come together to deliver electricity to Nashville. And having us together, I think we're able to set context for the business functions and why they're important and why they run the way they do. That knowledge has been very useful. Specifically on the IT side, we deliver to everyone. And so when we have a project come up and it's a team maybe we haven't worked with or a product we haven't worked with, we can kind of poke into those relationships and ask some questions, get some inside knowledge to help drive that delivery a little bit easier. I'd like to see a roadmap of, where we can take this, and I think that's where we're headed here in the next little bit. Um, with my lead BA Sandra, I've been able to delegate this community to her, and so she sets up the quarterly meetings, she gets the lunch ordered, she helps get the topics set and get engagement with everybody. And so what was a group of 4, I think is now a group of close to 10, with everybody. And I expect it to grow as we bring more business analysts into that center of excellence. I can see lots of opportunity for us to create a path for us as far as learning and development.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I think what one challenge which some communities of practice face, particularly when it's a lot of the development of the practice is being done on borrowed time, right? Like it's done off the side of the desk. It's not a core
Mhm.
part of anyone's role. It's like when things get busy, it can lose momentum because it's the thing that drops off the to-do list. So, I mean, you've been really successful in building this and growing it and sustaining it as well. So, how have you managed to make it sustainable so that it kind of sticks?
I think what's made it sustainable so far is maybe also what is stagnating the growth on the roadmap you brought up, and that's just that we keep it low pressure. I think
Mm.
more important than anything is the connection for us and to know that we have a group we can lean on. Um, so we've set the bar at let's meet quarterly for lunch and let's talk about something that's important. I think the one that actually is happening today is on professional development. Where are we going? So it's great timing. We've got our goal writing season coming up for the next fiscal year. Um, but that kind of casual nature, that low pressure, it makes it easy to commit when you don't have, the obligation of, oh, I didn't do that presentation, or you feel the pressure to attend as my schedule doesn't allow it. I'll catch you guys next time. Um, so I think that has helped. Um, and the fact that we're kind of doing it on our time, on our lunchtime helps too. It's not a hard sell to our leaders because it's not impacting our work. If anything, it's gaining something at the end of it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And again, as you were speaking there, I was thinking, oh wow, one of the like even better things about this community is like like people are there because they want to be there, right? Like
Mhm,
if it's in your own time, literally in your own time, you're only going to go if it's valuable. So the moment it's not valuable, people are going to start not attending, right?
mhm.
And so that almost means that you've got people who must be really, really bought in and enthusiastic about it. That's a great place to be. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just an awesome place to be.
If that's all it ever gets, I think it's still a big win.
Yeah, yeah. Have you faced any like if someone was thinking of doing this themselves, maybe they're going to do it in a very small way, as you say, a low pressure way. Like, were there any challenges you faced along the way? What or any kind of unexpected, unanticipated challenges you found?
I think any challenges, I'd have to ask the others that question. I think the challenge I found was making challenges in my head that weren't there. So,
That's what we do. We're
yeah.
analysts.
Right, right. Paralysis by analysis. No, I think for me it was uncertainty in being new and not wanting to rock the boat. Um, Business analysis was not defined. The BAs we had were brought on to support a project that ended up not really getting off the ground, and they stayed, which is fantastic. But then there wasn't the structure to support that body of work. So I didn't want to be the new kid in there breaking things, so feeling like I had to be delicate, but it really hasn't been anything that I needed to worry about because I don't think we're doing anything, wrong. We're not. ruffling any feathers, and I think it's keeping people happy and engaged, which makes them better employees.
Definitely, definitely. So as we start to sort of move towards the end of our time slot, a couple more questions.
Mhm.
The first one is like, if you could distill your experience of creating or acting as the catalyst to create and build and sustain this community of practice, if you could distill that experience into one or two key takeaways, what would those takeaways be for someone who's thinking about doing a similar thing?
Mhm. I think that the first would be, figure out what you're after. I was after a sense of community and just wanting to connect and not be the only person in the organization doing that work. Um, and so figure out what is driving your mission. Is it standardization? Is it communication? And then just focus on that for a little bit. Um, I think the other takeaway would be, um, just let others contribute to that process. You may be the driver, you may be the one with the idea, but I'm sure there are other people who have thoughts about how to build it up and keep going.
That feels really important. As you were saying that, I was thinking it's about co-creation, right? It's about getting
Mhm.
a group together and co-creating something. So if someone is sitting there feeling really, as I'm sure many people will be, inspired by hearing, the story of your story of creating a community of practice, it's like if they find the other people who can help them
Mhm.
co-create it, right? It's interesting. So, without giving too much away, Kathleen, tell us a little bit about what people will hear, what they'll get from attending
Mhm.
your session at the BBC. And while you do that, I'm going to put the URL for the agenda for the Building
Perfect.
Business Capability Conference on the screen.
So our it's an hour presentation. The material only allowed for one name on it, so I think mine ended up there. But we're most of us are going to come and just be there together and talk about our shared experience and what challenges we had, what opportunities have come from this. And I am really excited to get in a room with these really great people and just share what we've done. And I think we have some talking points, but also want to just keep it, as a practitioner's chat. I think that's a new model at BBC. And, there's not a presentation. We haven't been asked to provide a deck or handouts or anything. So I figured it would be, like a fireside chat. Let's share what we're doing and ask questions and just have some dialogue with those who are interested about what we've done and what they can do themselves.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought I'd just put the agenda up on the screen here, just so everyone viewing can see just how much there is happening at the BBC. And
This one is huge. There's
I'm
so much content this year. I can't believe it.
it's crazy that I mean the hardest point I always find of any conference like BBC is figuring out what to go and see, because there's
Mhm.
so much good stuff that it's hard to know what to go, and you always end up missing something. But then
Mhm.
equally, I find sometimes missing something means that you connect with the person afterwards and you speak with them
Right.
in a more so like if you were there might be some people who have never been to a business analysis conference, let alone having been to, having formed a community of practice. What would you say are like some of the benefits of going to a conference like BBC? What is it that you get excited or interested in going?
Oh gosh, the networking I think is always top of mind. I always enjoy seeing who I call the BA heroes. The ones who are really out there prominently, and there's so many others. It's just great to be in a room and talk. And I think the other really great benefit is to have tailored content. Um, I said in the PMO, so I've got project management too, and that work is very visible. There's a very big global presence, and not that there isn't with business analysis, but I feel like there's more ambiguity around the role. And as technology changes, the BA title's being used in so many different ways. So it's nice to come into a space where people know what I'm doing. I can learn from them. I always have something to take away and bring back to my team. This year, half my team's coming, which is great. So it's another way for us to connect with each other and figure out what are we going to do when we get back home. So
Yeah,
networking and knowledge sharing, I think, are the biggest.
I'd agree with all of that, and I'd say it's interesting. I always say that, like, for me, there's as much value learning and conversations in the bits between the sessions and the bits after the
Mhm.
sessions. Like, as in the sessions, and like the sessions are really important and they're great and they're wonderful. But sometimes, I find myself chatting to someone who's presented on something really interesting and getting some really useful insight in the networking break, or just meeting others. So. Great. So, irrespective of whether people watching can attend the BBC or not, I am certain they will want to connect with you, Kathleen. Find out more about what you do. What's the best way for people to connect with you? Is it to, like, send you a message on LinkedIn, or what works for you?
LinkedIn is great. I'm more of a lurker these days. My work and personal life keeps me busy, but I do check that actively, and I'm always happy to connect.
Fantastic. Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to have a chat today.
Yeah,
Such a
thank you for the invitation.
You're most welcome, and such a great topic. I'm sure that many people are in that situation where there isn't a community of practice and they wish there was one. And what your story really demonstrates is that actually, there is that ability for any of us to pick that up, build the momentum, and more importantly, sustain it as well. So thank
Mhm.
you very much for sharing. Whether you've attended live or whether you're watching the recording, do of course check out the Building Business Capability Conference. Lots of really interesting presentations there. Also, just because I've got about 1 minute left looking at the clock, just a quick plug in case any of you aren't aware of BA Digest. BA Digest is a quarterly PDF magazine about all things BA related, and it is completely free. So if you are a BA, if you're interested in business analysis, go to badigest.link. You can download the entire back catalogue for free. And while you're there, if you want to, you can sign up to get it via email. And the next edition is going to be released in early April, in about 2 weeks' time. So if you get on the email list, you'll see that first. So all that's left for me to say is thank you to everyone who has attended live, or indeed who has watched the recording. Massive thank you, Kathleen, for taking time out. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in sunny Arizona in a
Yes,
couple of months' time.
I'll see you in June. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.